Bayern agree Nagelsmann switch, Ronaldo eyes Juve exit, Real Madrid to keep Odegaard, Arsenal under offer, and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So apparently, despite the fact that Julian Nagelsmann has over 2 years left on his RB Leipzig contract, he has agreed to switch to take over Bayern Munich for the start of next season. Only if they will be willing to pay Leipzig the €25 million compensation that they want for their manager, and it's no wonder why they actually want so much money. I mean, first off, they paid Hoffenheim €5 million for him a few years ago, but apart from that, he's produced some wondrous results on the field. He took Leipzig to the Champions League semi-final last season, and this season has ran Bayern reasonably close when it comes to the Bundesliga title. It does look as though Hansi Flick's men will be taking home the trophy yet again, and who knows, maybe that could be Nagelsmann next season. At 33 years old, he is incredibly young, but he has shown, much like with young players, that if you are good enough, then you're old enough. The fact that he could bring in such a high-pressing, attacking, intense style of football to this Bayern Munich team, including all the players that they've got at the moment and potentially a few more, is surely something very exciting for Bayern Munich's future. At the moment, of course, they are out of the Champions League. They were knocked out by PSG. They are doing pretty well in the Bundesliga and look like they will be winning it in the upcoming weeks. And of course, they were knocked out of the DFB Pokal earlier on by a lower ranked side. But Nagelsmann will definitely be under no illusions that when he comes into the job, he will be expected to compete on all three fronts and probably make it to the final of most. When you're a club the size of Bayern Munich with the players, the depth of squad and the finances that they've got compared to the rest of the Bundesliga, in my opinion, they have to be winning the title, they have to be winning the cup, and they have to be reaching at least the semi-finals of the Champions League. Again, like I mentioned, Nagelsmann's got a pretty good record in the Champions League, and on top of this, he knows how to take a team from, let's not say mid-table safety, because I always thought Leipzig were a bit better than that even when they came up. But he knows how to run the big boys just a little bit further towards the end of the season, how to improve his team, and to make some brilliant signings. Of course, talking about signings, there will be a whole host of names thrown around as to who he could potentially bring into Bayern Munich, but one of them we already know is Dayot Upamecano, the French defender who he's got under his wing at the moment. Well, they could team up again in the south of Germany. Moving on then, and to one potentially huge transfer, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo leaving Juventus due to last night's result and a fantastic win for Lazio over AC Milan, which not only pretty much confirms that Inter Milan will be champions at the end of the season, it also meant that Juventus now face a real fight to finish in the top four. We spoke yesterday about how Andrea Pirlo's job is safe if they finish in the top four, but if they don't, not only is his job not safe, but Ronaldo will apparently want to leave. The reason being because he's 36 years old, and even though he says he's got the body of a mid-20-something-year-old and he feels like he can go on forever, he also does realise that the chance to play at the highest level of football, the years that he can play at the highest level of football, are dwindling when you reach your late 30s. Therefore, he doesn't want to play Juventus if they're going to be in the Europa League. There are two options for which he could play Champions League football that are apparently on the Portuguese star's radar. One of them is PSG. They're going to be playing Champions League football next season. We're not sure whether they're going to win the title this campaign, but in all honesty, despite the fact they do have the money to pay for Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't think they're going to bring him in if they're keeping both Neymar and Mbappe this summer. Neymar's definitely going to stay because he's this close to signing a new contract, and as for Kylian Mbappe, there's rumours about whether or not he's going to be leaving or staying this summer because his contract runs out next summer, but honestly, I don't see anyone paying the ridiculous amount of money needed to prize Kylian Mbappe away for PSG. Therefore, I also don't see Cristiano Ronaldo joining the club. And the other one is Manchester United. It's a dream return to the club that pretty much made him, well, that's probably harsh on Sporting Lisbon, but certainly the one that thrust him into the spotlight. And at 36 years old, he'd still be a fantastic asset. There is no way that you can deny that Cristiano Ronaldo would not be brilliant for United. Edinson Cavani looks to be leaving the club at the end of the season. Rashford has had his injury worries, and Greenwood, while still at a young age, has done pretty well in the first team, but could learn so much from Ronaldo. They'll have the money, they'll have the Champions League football, and it just looks like it could be a really good fit. Obviously, Florentino Perez has been in the news quite recently, what with all the Super League stuff, but he did manage to throw in a line or two on Cristiano Ronaldo while whilst in a lot of these press conferences and radio shows, and he said that Ronaldo did a fantastic amount of work for the club, but he will not be returning, so maybe it looks like Manchester United is the option for him. Moving on then, and actually talking of Real Madrid, there are reports coming out of Spain that Martin Odegaard will not be sold on a permanent basis. Apparently Zinedine Zidane regrets even loaning him to Arsenal for the second half of the season, and that he wants to give him a first team spot for the next campaign. We've heard this all before. This was exactly the same line that was pumped out by the club last summer when they called Odegaard back from a 2-year loan deal at Real Sociedad 1 year early, gave him a squad number, said he'd be part of the first team, this, that and the other, he's going to get minutes. January came around and he barely played. For some reason, Zidane didn't want to play him, was happy to let him go on loan, and now, yeah, as we mentioned, it looks like he's regretting it a little bit. The reason being is because Luka Modric has played the most amount of minutes for any player over the age of 31 in the outfield in La Liga. But then, despite this, they're apparently offering Luka Modric a new contract. Honestly, if they keep Odegaard, don't let him go to Arsenal or anywhere else for that matter. Take the money for him, allow him to go and kind of boot his career, I would say. Play a lot of minutes, and then just keep him on the bench behind the same trio of Casemiro, Kroos and Modric. It just would really not sit so well with Odegaard and his whole team. Like, surely they've heard this line so many times, and the onus is really going to be on Zinedine Zidane to not only prove this next season, but to trust him in the big games as well, as Real Madrid look to build towards the future. Next up then, and talking of Arsenal as well, they are under offer, and apparently this is coming from the Spotify owner Daniel Ek. He, along with 3 other legendary players, are reportedly putting together a bid to buy the club outright. After so many protests about the way the club is run at the moment, there were calls for Stan Kroenke to sell up, get rid of his stake in Arsenal Football Club, and Daniel Ek tweeted that if Arsenal were selling, he would throw his hat in the ring. Now, the 3 legends that are reportedly going to put in some of the money as well are the likes of Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and Patrick Vieira. The only question I have is that Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira, not so much Dennis Bergkamp, are both also pretty interested in taking on a long coaching career. Both of them have had coaching jobs, both of them are out of job at the moment, but they're linked with managerial roles at various clubs in England and in Europe. I'm not quite sure, A, if they can manage the time between being a part owner of a football club, especially one as big as Arsenal, and being a manager, and B, if there would be a conflict of interest. I'm not quite sure how it would work, but you would assume that Daniel Ek, the one with all the business acumen, would definitely be able to head up a fantastic deal for Arsenal. Lastly then, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Xherdan Shaqiri wants to leave Liverpool in search of more first-team minutes. Leicester are interested in the PSV Eindhoven winger Nodi Madueke. Arsenal have open talks with Emil Smith-Rowe over a brand new contract, and lastly but not least, Roma have chosen former Juventus and Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri to be their new coach from the summer onwards. So that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out everything else we've got going on at OneFootball, and until next time, I will see you guys later.